Hellcat.
Hello and welcome back to the channel, and once again it's time for another Saturn review, and I've got something of a bit of a cult classic, I think you'd class it as today, and that is none other than the mixed genre game Dark Savior. Now this is a kind of a cross between a role-playing game and a platforming game and an action game, and it kind of combines different bits together to form one completely unique playing experience. Now, this game came out at the start of 1997 here in Europe, and it was kind of had loads of delays when it was being made. They were running behind, and they had to employ external programmers to get the 3D engine finished, because the story is that a lot of the programmers who worked on the game hadn't done three-dimensional polygonal games before, so they were really lagging behind. I think it took 6 months just to get the camera views up and running properly, and they had problems with the frame rate, and so it was really dragged out process to get this game done. But in the end, what they managed to do, I think, especially if they were all inexperienced and they had outside developers coming in to help, is create a truly unique and a really interesting and a really good looking game as well. So the story starts out that the bounty hunters in the game have captured this evil villain Bilan, and he's on board this ship. He's going to get transported to Jailer Island, where he's going to be kept a prisoner, but of course things go wrong and he escapes and he's killing people and all of that, and it's your job to try and put a stop to that. Now this game has multiple different scenarios, and that's probably the biggest thing most people remember about this game. Parallel 1, the hunt for evil, basically that's focused on Gary and the main character trying to track down Bilan to defeat him and end his trail of carnage. Parallel number 2, the hunt for the heart. This one, he manages to kill Bilan at the start of the game, and Bilan transforms into somebody, and then the game focuses on the corrupt warden Kurt Legan, who's in charge of Jailer Island, and a ninja woman called Kay, and it's probably the longest scenario out of all of the ones in the game. Certainly scenario 1 and scenario 2, definitely the longest. Parallel number 3 is a much shorter version of Bilan escaping and Garion pursuing him to Jailer Island. Well, parallel number 4, you can only access it if you finish parallel number 3, because it's a storyline continuation, a bit more to do with kind of like space and the source of the problems and parallel universes and stuff, basically. A bit more confusing, I think, that one. And then parallel number 5, Marathon of Death, you can only access it if you sort of go down the parallel 2-part path but lose a certain battle at the start of the game. It takes you down this sort of like purgatory path where Garion's just got to try and kill loads of different people and battle them. I didn't really want to talk too much about the story, because to be fair, if you've not played the game, I think kind of spoils it a bit, but the different parallels definitely add some variety to this game. They really do, and it's always interesting, I think, because I don't really think there's too many RPGs kind of like that where you can definitely branch off in one direction and it gives you a completely different story. But as always, we're going to talk about the way the game looks, the way the game plays, the way it sounds, and what kind of lifespan this game provides with you. Now, straight off the bat, you should, if you're like me anyway, notice that the character sprites on this game are really good. They are big, they are bold, they're bright, they are detailed, they look genuinely good. Just like the 3D environments on this game, I think they are some of the best on the console, and especially when I said at the start of the video, external programmers came in, I genuinely think the 3D environments on this game are absolutely some of the very best on the console. The only downside for me is that you can't rotate the camera all the way around to actually check them out, because it's an isometric game, which you can adjust the camera to try and look around corners and stuff, which is definitely useful at times. But other than that, I can't really fault the graphical engine. Yes, there is some slowdown in places, especially when Garion is running. Perhaps that's due to the fact that they were rushing it to get it finished or whatever. But aside from that, the game engine is really good. And like I said, I do absolutely love the character models on this game. They're all individual, unique. They have a lot of character to them, and I think that's really always kind of like a gripping thing. Helps you get drawn into the storyline of an RPG anyway, and the characters and what they're all about. The battle graphics are, again, 2D sprite-based characters, but it's on a 2D plane, the battles. They kind of look 3D, but it is fully 2D in the graphics in there. And they're a little bit more zoomed in, so I guess the characters do look a little bit pixelated. There aren't really any special effects or any kind of really good special attacks on this game as well, so I can't really say anything about things that impress me graphically in the battle system. But overall, the game, to me, is a really good looking game, and I genuinely think it's one of the better looking games on the Sega Saturn. How does the game sound? Well, the music in Dark Savior is actually really good. The only problem I've got is that I don't feel there's quite enough of it. A lot of the music is reused, and I just don't think there's probably enough variety for all the different locations. The battle music sticks in your head, but it's pretty much the only battle music in the game. There aren't actually that many battles in the game. Sound effects, there aren't really a whole lot in there. There's the sound of him swinging his sword, jumping and landing on stuff. Nothing dramatic, nothing too out of the ordinary. What is here serves its purpose, and I tend to feel like I've said that quite a bit when I've reviewed a few Saturn games. Like, the sounds serve their purpose, the music's pretty good, there's nothing bad. It is what it is. I genuinely do think it's really good. It's not one of the games, though, that you can put in your CD player and listen to the music. It's an RPG, and you usually can't do that for some reason. What you do get, though, if you put this game in the CD player, is a bizarre backstory about Bilan narrated to you, and then a load of music to follow it that isn't actually in the game. It is bizarre, it is very, very strange, and it just kind of goes in line with this whole game, if I'm perfectly honest. It's just a little bit quirky, a little bit unique, so that's something to check out if you've never done that. Put this game in your CD player and listen to the bizarre story and music that follows it.
Murder was rampant. The very souls of the citizens of Lavian had been maliciously corrupted by the singular evil force called Bilano.
So, how does the game play? Well, obviously it's broken up into different parts. You've got your general chit-chatting around the town locations where there are NPCs to talk to, like a standard RPG, and you've got your traversing with your platform, and you've got your battling as well. Now, obviously the main part of the game is the platforming and the exploring of the locations, and probably it's not the game's greatest strength. It's an isometric viewpoint, so you've got to get used to the controls. Once you do, the game is playable. It's perfectly enjoyable, but it's probably not the biggest strength going for the game. It can be quite difficult making some of the jumps, and you've got to fall off and then do them again. That's probably the most challenging part of the game, and especially in the first part of the game when you're on the captain's ship and you're trying to rush around to try and get those certain parallels, and you've got to get there in a time limit, so you're trying to do things as quick as you can. You can make mistakes, you can fall to your death, that kind of thing, so it is a bit irritating. The battle combat is very simplistic. It's basically a case of mashing the A button to knock down your opponents and occasionally charging your A button up to do a special attack or capture the enemy. That is it. It's very simplistic. The battles are very easy. I can't stress that enough. Doing the final battle on the game, I really couldn't believe that it didn't give me any kind of real challenge whatsoever, to be honest. The gameplay was just, it really is just a case of mashing the A button. There is nothing else to put it really for the battling system. It's very easy. I've found that with Saturn RPGs in general. Magic Knight, Ray Earth, very easy. I'm currently playing Albert Odyssey. That is also a very easy game. I kind of feel like they're all aimed at beginners, if I'm perfectly honest, or I don't know, maybe that's just me, maybe it's because I've got a lot of experience with RPGs, but overall the gameplay is okay. And like I said, the only major problem is probably the camera view when you're traversing different areas and making jumps and stuff, because you can fall off locations, fall off ledges, and makes you do it all over again. That's my only gripe really. Other than that, the game does play relatively well. So, talking about the lifespan of the game, you have to take into account there's obviously parallels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The first couple, there's probably about 4 or 5 hours of gameplay in each of those. The other ones, though, are much shorter. So if you added it all together, all 5 scenarios might give you approximately 15 hours of gameplay. Obviously, if you were comparing that with a standard sort of like RPG like Shining Force, that's got more than double, but it's not really the same kind of game. And yes, I kind of class it more as an RPG just because of the interaction with the other characters and stuff, but it is more of a action game in the way that it plays, and they do tend to be shorter.
but it has got a great bit of lifespan to it because of the different storylines. It gives you replay value. Obviously, once you've played through all 5, there's not really much else, I should say, there to sink your teeth into. It's pretty much done and dusted. But as well as that, you have to take into account the price. This is a relatively pricey Saturn game now. You're probably going to be paying £50 upwards if you want to get a complete copy. I was lucky when I got mine. I think I got it for £24 off eBay, probably maybe about a year ago now. It did come with a mangled front cover, so I had to sort that out, but it does look very good now. So I was quite lucky with that. Really depends on if you want to experience the game. Obviously, you could just get a ROM and sort of like play it on an emulator, or you could buy a repro of the game. Completely up to you. I like having the actual physical copy of the game with the manual and everything. It does look nice in my collection, I'm not going to lie. It's up to you. It is an expensive game. Are you going to get £50 worth of gameplay out of it? Probably not. So it really is. If you get it for a bargain price, definitely worth picking up, obviously. But again, £50 is quite a lot of money for a game like this. But overall, it is a very good game. I can't say too much bad about it. It's obviously got flaws, but I think those flaws are down to the fact that the game was rushed to try and finish its development, and certainly bits probably could have been ironed out if they'd have had more time, or perhaps more experienced people on board who were used to the Saturn's architecture at the time. That being said, I definitely think it's worth playing personally, so go out, play it in some way, somehow, and that is it. Another Saturn review done and dusted for this week. Thank you for watching. What are your thoughts on Dark Savior? Sort of like, where do you put that in the pecking order of games on the Saturn? That is it for today, and I shall see you again soon for another Saturn review. Goodbye for now. So before I end the video there, I thought, you know what, we've reviewed 22 PAL games thus far in my review series. So I thought we'd sort of like get a top 10 going. So here we are, 10th best game in my opinion that I have reviewed thus far, X-Men Children of the Atom. Number 9, I'm going to refer to my list because I wrote them down. Number 9, I put in there Manx TT. Number 8, a little bit better than Manx TT overall, I felt, was Street Racer. Number 7, maybe a surprise to people, but I do like this game, Grid Run. Definitely think that's an underrated game, I do. Said that in my review and I stand by it now. Next one, maybe another surprise, but I genuinely enjoyed playing this game, Alien Trilogy. So Alien Trilogy is in there in 6th place in the list. Number 5, again, this will probably be another surprise. It is Victory Boxing. That is my 5th favourite Saturn game that I've reviewed thus far, and now we get into familiar territory. Games that you can probably expect to be there. Number 4, Sega Rally. Yeah, probably not a surprise. Number 3, today's game, Dark Savior. That's in there, a nice high spot. I definitely think that is deserved. Number 2, Virtua Fighter 2. Is there any surprise that's in the list? Probably not. And I don't know whether you'll be able to guess number 1. What do you think it is? It is Shining Force 3. Obviously, that's only part 1, because part 2, I've reviewed that, but that was in the Japanese territories to begin with, so not counting translated games. Only games that are released in the PAL territories. So Shining Force 3 is currently in number 1 spot. Can anything knock it off? We will find out in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.